గ్రామంలో వితంతువులు ఎంతమంది ఉన్నారు అనేది ఒక సర్వే చేయించుకోవడం జరిగింది. ఆ సర్వే చేయించే క్రమంలో గ్రామంలో ఏముండే కదా అంటే, భర్త చచ్చిపోయినాక దశదిన కర్మ చేసే రోజు వితంతుల ముండమోపే కార్యక్రమం చేస్తుంది. అంటే అక్కడ ఉన్నటువంటి ఆమె గాజులు పలుకొట్టడము, ఆమె తెల్ల చీర కట్టేయడము, కొన్ని గంటల దాకా ఆమెను బయట ముఖాలు చూపించకపోవడం. ఒక పెళ్లి జరుగుతున్నప్పుడు అక్షంతలు వేయమంటే మేము భర్త లేని వాళ్ళము, మీరు అక్షంతలు వేయద్దు అని వాళ్ళకు ఒక మూఢనమ్మకం మీద కొట్టి వాళ్ళ అక్షంతలు వేయకుండా బయటికి వెళ్ళిపోయేవారు. అదే రకంగా బతుకమ్మ సంబరాలు జరుగుతుంటే ఆ బతుకమ్మ మేము భర్త లేని వాళ్ళం బతుకమ్మ ఆడద్దు అని వీళ్ళు బతుకమ్మ ముట్టుకోకపోవడం, బతుకమ్మ సంబరాల్లో పాల్గొనకపోవడం, వాళ్ళకు గాజులు మల్లె పూలు పెట్టుకొని పుణ్య కార్యక్రమాలకు వచ్చినట్లు కాదు. ఇప్పుడు ఇనాగ్రేషన్స్ కానీ లేకపోతే భూమి పూజలు కానీ పూజలు కానీ చేసినప్పుడు వితంతువుల చేత కానీ నిషేధం ఉండేమంటాము. అంటే దీన్ని అన్నిటికీ మార్గం ఏంటిది అనేది మేము ఆలోచించినప్పుడు ఇక నుంచి గతంలో వితంతు వివక్ష అయితే ఏదైతే జరిగిందో దాన్ని రూపుమాపాలంటే మన కమిటీ ద్వారా సాధ్యమవుతుందని నిర్ణయించుకొని గ్రామ సభలో ఒక తీర్మానం చేసుకున్నాము. ఒక కమిటీ వేసుకోవడం ద్వారా ఆ కమిటీలో ఈ వితంతువులు 68 మంది సభ్యులు, బాడీ మాత్రం 9 మంది ప్రతి నెల సమావేశం ఏర్పాటు చేసుకొని ప్రతి నెల ఒక కార్యక్రమం. ఒక నెల ఏం చేసినామనంటే, అమ్మా ఇప్పటి నుంచి మనము ఎవరైతే బొట్టు గాజు కుంకుమ దూరం ఉంటుందో ఇక నుంచి మీరు ఇప్పటి నుంచి రెగ్యులర్ గా ఏ పుణ్య కార్యక్రమానికి పోవటానికైనా మీరు పూలు పెట్టుకోవచ్చు, బొట్టు పెట్టుకోవచ్చు, గాజులు పెట్టుకోవచ్చు అని ఒక 22 మందికి గ్రామ పంచాయతీ సమక్షంలో వాళ్ళకు గాజులు పెట్టడము, చిక్కలో పూలు పెట్టడము, బొట్టు పెట్టడం జరిగింది. కొందరు వ్యతిరేకించారు చాలా. వెనక నుంచి వస్తున్న కార్యక్రమాన్ని కంపల్సరీ ఆమె తెల్లజీర కట్టియాలి, ఆమెకు గాజులు వాళ్ళు కొట్టాలంటే అక్కడ కొంచెం బాధలు జరిగినాయి. ఇప్పుడు భర్త చనిపోయిన వాళ్ళను పూలు గాజులు పెట్టి వాళ్ళకు మళ్ళా పెళ్లి చేస్తావా, ఇప్పుడు మొగుడు చచ్చిపోయిన ముండలకు పెత్తనం ఇస్తావా అని ఆమె బయటకు వెళ్ళినప్పుడు ఎవరైనా ఇబ్బంది పెట్టినప్పుడు ఎవరు గ్యారంటీ అని ప్రశ్న వాళ్ళని ఎందుకు బయటకు తిప్పుతున్నావు నువ్వు అని నా మీద చాలా వ్యతిరేకత వచ్చింది. సరే వచ్చినా పర్వాలేదు అని అప్పుడు అనుకొని అంటే వితంతు వివక్ష మన గ్రామంలో నిర్మూలించాలి. వితంతు వివక్ష మహిళా కమిటీ ఆధ్వర్యంలో ఆ కమిటీని ప్రతి మాసం 12వ తారీఖు నాడు సమావేశం ఏర్పాటు చేసుకొని ఈ అంశాల పైన చాలా అవేర్నెస్ చేసి మన గ్రామంలో ఎవరు చచ్చిపోయినా ఈ ముండమోపేతనాన్ని మనం రద్దుమాపుదాం అని ఒక వ్యక్తి చనిపోయినప్పుడు వాళ్ళ ఇంటికి పోయి మీరు ఇక్కడ నుంచి ముండమోపేతనాన్ని మనం చెయ్యొద్దు, మన కమిటీలో తీర్మానం చేసుకున్నాం, ఎప్పటి నుంచి దాన్ని ఆ ముండమోపేతనాన్ని మనం ఆపడం. అక్కడ కార్యక్రమం జరుగుతుంటే వీళ్ళు ఇట్లా కుమిలిపోయాయి, నా భర్త చనిపోయింది, నా అదృష్టం గిట్ల అయింది, నా రాత గిట్ల అయింది, వాళ్ళు కుమిలి ఏడ్చే క్రమాన్ని వాళ్ళ దగ్గరికి పోయి ఓదార్చి మీరు ధైర్యంగా ఉంటుంది మనం ముందేద్దామని ఆమెకు చెప్పడం జరుగుతుంది. ఆ కార్యక్రమాన్ని అంతటితోనే ఆగకుండా ఇక నుంచి మీరు భర్త లేని వాళ్ళు అయ్యో మేము ఏ కార్యక్రమానికి పోవద్దు అని మీరు ఏమి బాధపడకుండా ప్రతి కార్యక్రమంలో పాల్గొంటామని మీరు ప్రతిజ్ఞ చెల్లించామని ఆ రోజు అందరి సమక్షంలో ప్రతిజ్ఞ చేయించుకోవాలి. ఒక రోజు మా గౌరవ మంత్రివర్యులు మా స్థానిక ఎమ్మెల్యే హరీష్ రావు గారు మా గ్రామానికి వచ్చి గ్రామ పంచాయతీ బిల్డింగ్, మహిళా భవనం బిల్డింగ్ ఇనాగ్రేషన్ చేస్తున్నారు. ఆ క్రమంలో సార్ మేము ఇట్లా మా గ్రామ కట్టుబాటు పెట్టుకున్నాము, ఇక నుంచి మా వితంతు మహిళ చేతనే ఏ పుణ్య కార్యక్రమాలను ప్రారంభించుదామని మేము ఒక తీర్మానం చేసుకున్నాం సార్ అంటే తక్షణమే మంత్రి గారు అప్పుడు తక్షణమే అక్కడ ఉన్నటువంటి కోరెడ్డి లక్ష్మీ వితంతురాలు, బైరోజు యాదమ్మ అనే వితంతురాలు చేత అక్కడ కొబ్బరికాయ కొట్టించి ఆ బిల్డింగ్ ప్రారంభోత్సవాన్ని ఆ వితంతు చేతనే ప్రారంభించుకోవడం. కనుక ఇదంతా మేము ఆ కమిటీ ఏర్పాటు చేసుకోవడం వల్ల సాధ్యమైంది. బాల వికాసం చెప్పిన శిక్షణ కార్యక్రమంలో నేర్చుకొని మేము కూడా అందరితో సమానం ఉంటామని వాళ్ళు ఆత్మధైర్యాన్ని నేర్చుకొని ఇప్పుడు గ్రామంలో ఇలాంటి కార్యక్రమాలు చేసుకోవడం జరుగుతుంది. అంటే ఒక్కరిగా సాధించలేని ఒక కమిటీగా మేము సాధించుకున్నామని ఇప్పుడు మా గ్రామంలో ఉన్నటువంటి మహిళలందరూ కూడా హ్యాపీగా కొంత ఫీల్ అవుతుంది.
Don't put this. Don't put this one.
Hi, Shivaram.
Hi, Auntie.
Okay, those are the people that manage the thing. Then I can leave this way.
It's too loud, I think.
When you speak, that's how I put every time. Surety is there.
Hello, Richard. Hello, Mamaya.
Hello. Hello, Vishal.
Good morning, Uncle. Good morning, Pitamma.
Hi, Sunita. Hi, Risha.
Good morning, Rishad.
Hello, say.
Sunit, other panelists are they joining?
Yeah.
Test 1, 2, 3. It works.
Yes.
Yes.
Good.
Everything is okay.
Hello, uncle.
Hi, Rahul.
Hello, Rahul.
Hi, auntie.
How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
It's okay.
Good.
Good morning, Uncle and Auntie.
Good morning, Manjula.
Hello, Manjula.
Hello, Uncle. How are you, Uncle?
I'm okay. You?
Yeah, we are fine, Uncle.
Yeah, it's a big day for you.
Yeah,
Almost.
for all of us, Uncle.
Yeah.
Hi, Richard. How are you?
Okay, we have 5 more minutes to start the event. We have already 2-3 panelists logged in, and we're waiting for one or two more.
We are expecting about 400 people, and we have 142 already joined.
They're joining. It's
Shiva, పాట పెట్టరా ఇదంతా పాట అమ్మా శివ.
అనేది తెలియదు. అసలు పిల్లల్ని సాధనం అనేది తెలియదు. సమాజంలో ఎట్లా బతకాలి అనేది తెలియదు. సామాజికంగా చాలా కష్టాలు ఎదుర్కొన్నా, మానసికంగా ఎదుర్కొన్నా, ఇప్పుడు ఇంట్లో అమ్మ వాళ్ళే గాని బయట సమాజమే గాని ఇది వేధింపులు మొదలు పెట్టారు. ఎట్లా అంటే పొద్దున్నే లేచి వాకిలు కొద్దు, మా ముఖం చూడొద్దు, వాళ్ళ ముఖం మేము చూడొద్దు, ఏదైనా శుభకార్యాలు జరిగితే మమ్మల్ని పిలవకపోవడం, సొంతం మా తమ్ముడు పెళ్లికి కూడా నా చేత అక్షంతలు వేయనీయలేదు, నన్ను దగ్గర రానియలేదు. కుటుంబంలో కూడా చాలా మంది లైంగిక వేధింపులు కూడా పడ్డా వాళ్ళు అన్న వాటిని పట్టుకొని మేము చాలా బాధపడి ఒకరోజు గ్యాస్ మీద పోసుకున్నా చచ్చిపోవాలని, ఒకరోజు ఉరి పెట్టుకున్నా. మా ఆయన చనిపోయిన తర్వాత బాల వికాస 2005 9వ నెలలో ఏమో జాయిన్ అయినాను. ఆ రోజు నాకు ఒక్క చారణ అంటే ఎట్లుంటుందో కూడా తెలియదు. 50 రూపాయలు బాల వికాసలో పొదుపులాగా కట్టాలంటే కూడా ఆ డబ్బులు లేకపోతే మా అమ్మే ఇచ్చింది. 2007 బాల వికాస వితంతు వ్యవస్థ అని మొదలుపెట్టింది. అప్పటి నుంచి బాల వికాసలో ప్రతి మీటింగ్ నెల మీటింగ్ పెట్టి మా మీటింగ్ లో అవేర్నెస్ తీసుకొచ్చారు. అంటే మాలో మీరు బతకాలి, మీరు చచ్చిపోవద్దు, మీరు మంచి పిల్లలు చదువుకోవాలి, మీరు మీ కాళ్ళ మీద మీరు బతకాలి, మీరు ఏదో ఒక ఉపాధి చేసుకోవాలన్న మాటలు మాకు చాలా ప్రోత్సాహాన్ని ఇచ్చినాయి. ఒక 4 సూత్రాలు చెప్పారు. ఆ 4 సూత్రాల వల్లనే నేను డెవలప్ కాగలిగిన. నేర్చుకున్నంత ఏం లేదు, చాలా తెలివి నేర్చుకున్నా, చాలా ధైర్యం వచ్చింది. బాల వికాస ఆంటీ వాళ్ళు వచ్చి, అక్కయ్య వాళ్ళు వచ్చి బొట్టు పెట్టుకోండి, గాజులు పెట్టుకోండి, మీరు అట్లుండండి, మీరు ఇట్లుండండి అంటే చాలా సంతోషం అనిపించింది. ఎట్లా అంటే బస్సులలో వచ్చేటప్పుడు కాళ్ళకు మెట్టలు లేకుండా, మెడలో తాళ్ళు లేకుండా, చేతులకు గాజులు లేకుండా, బొట్టు లేకుండా ఉంటే చాలా ఏనలాగా చూసేవాళ్ళు. అట్లాంటి ఫీలింగ్ నుంచి మమ్మల్ని బాల వికాస చాలా వరకు మార్చింది. ఇప్పుడు మేము గాజులు వేసుకుంటున్నాం, బొట్టు పెట్టుకుంటున్నాం, పువ్వులు పెట్టుకుంటున్నాం. పర్సనల్ గా నేను అసలు తెలివి నేర్చుకొని ఆర్థిక సాయం పొందిన, మానసికంగా కూడా చాలా వరకు క్యూర్ అయిన నేను. అట్లా నా సొంత వరకు అయితే నేను చాలా వరకు లబ్ధి పొందిన, చాలా బెనిఫిట్ అయినా. బాల వికాసులో ఇట్లా మిషన్ నేర్పుతారు ఒక 4 రోజులు అంటే నేను చాలా సంతోషంగా పేరించిన. ఈ బాల వికాసులో ఇంత మంచి అవకాశం వచ్చి మాకు మేము బతికి మా పిల్లల్ని బతికించుకున్నందుకు చాలా సంతోషంగా ఉంది. ఇప్పుడు చావాలన్న ఆలోచన కూడా రావట్లేదు. ఇంకా మేము బతకాలి, ఇంకేదో చేయాలన్న ఆరాటంతో ఉంటున్నాం తప్ప చావాలన్న ఆలోచన ఎప్పుడూ తీసేసినాం మనసులో. పర్సనల్ గా నేను అసలు 50 రూపాయలు అంటే ఏందో తెలియని ఈ రోజు నుంచి ఇప్పటి వరకు చాలా పెద్ద ఎత్తుగా ఎదిగినాం.
See me, huh?
Hmm?
You cannot see me, huh?
Should we start?
Where we see you a little bit.
Oh, that's okay.
I think there are 155 participants and more would join. So it's 5 o'clock. So should we start?
Right. As you wish.
Okay. So namaste to everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening all. I'm Sunita, and I take immense delight and honor to welcome all to this global conference on this auspicious International Widows Day. On behalf of all our Bala Vikasa family, I wish you all a very happy International Widows Day. Yes, we all experience an unprecedented situation with the global COVID-19 pandemic, but thank you all for taking your precious time and joining this virtual conference. Thanks to technology for connecting us all across the globe today. And I acknowledge the presence of government officials, NGOs from India and 23 countries across the globe, eminent panelist speakers representing Asia, Africa, and North America, well-wishers, and our esteemed Bala Vikasa family members attending this conference today. A warm welcome to all once again. So as we all know, United Nations a decade ago has declared International Widows Day, suggesting all the stakeholders to look into different types of issues faced by the widows across the globe. As latest estimates show, there are 258 million widowed women globally and 45 million widows in India, which is 10% of the female population and around the whole population of South Africa. So the current figures will be much more higher, especially as COVID-19 has intensified the situation. As we all know, when the husband dies, woman is left alone and her problems become invisible to the whole society. Among various ethnic groups, the widows are even deprived of their ritual privileges. And this theme of widows today, invisible women, invisible problems, therefore urges us to identify those women and make their problems visible to society. So policies focus upon common citizens, laborers, jobless youth, and other suffering segments of society. However, nothing is specifically discussed about widows in policy-making meetings. So such an ignoring attitude means that issues of more than 258 million people remain unaddressed. So today's Widows Day stresses upon highlighting the issues of this ignored community to make it more sustainable. So we are gathered here as one United Nations. So let's do our best, and we do our best when we do it together. So this should be a good step in the right direction to discuss on the issue based on the theme, Invisible Women, Invisible Problems. So before I hand over to Shauri, who will be moderating the session today, I'm pleased to welcome and have a gracious presence of our founders today. So our founders, Mr. Andre Jangra and Bala Jangra, are great visionaries and our builders and living legends, I can say. So they are a couple made for each other, a couple of wisdom, power, and proficiency. Very simple in living and high in their moral values. So apart from impacting millions of people through different programs, they have identified this invisible issue of widows and initiated a social movement at Bala Vikasa. Through this movement, up to 15,000 widows were supported, mentored, and transformed in their leadership. And Mr. Andre Jangra, who had worked for 30 years in many countries as a diplomat with the Canadian International Development Agency, has gained a lot of valuable experience in community development. So after his retirement as ambassador ranking position, he's now a think tank to Bala Vikasa. So it's a pleasure having both of you, uncle and auntie, to be with us today on this auspicious occasion, and you are always an inspiration to all of us. So now I hand over to Mr. Shauredi, our Executive Director, who is an eminent, inspiring, and influential social development professional, working diligently for over 3 decades in building the largest network of Bala Vikasa. He is highly recognized for his passion, commitment, dedication, imagination, and innovation. As a social activist, he has been leading the widow empowerment movement initiated by Bala Vikasa to eradicate discrimination, superstitions, and empower millions of widows in India. So this movement has been gaining momentum with the support of media, religious leaders, political leaders, students, and NGOs. So I would like Mr. Shauredi to please lead the session further. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Sunita, and namaste to all the participants from across the globe. I can see, a lot of, I cannot see the faces, but I can read the names in the list, Most of the participants are coming from our CDD background. We have been part of Bala Vikasa training programs, collaborating with Bala Vikasa for the last many years, and also the partner NGOs in India. So nice to have all of you. And if anybody, any widow is participating in this event, special greetings to the widows, for whom this day is dedicated by United Nations, right? And today, as you all already got the invitation, we are conducting this event on the occasion of International Widows Day, which was declared by United Nations exactly 10 years ago. That was in 2011. Okay, and the reason for conducting this event is globally in every country, widows are facing different problems. In some countries, it is maybe because of superstitions, because of religious traditions, and in some places because of economical background, right? Or different situations are making widows in every country to have different problems. Like, we used to celebrate International Women's Day to acknowledge their problems and, encourage them, to support them. Similarly, now the Widows Day. So this day, Bala Vikasa, we have been organizing this for the last 10 years in Bala Vikasa, trying to support a lot of widows with different activities. So I'll, Shiva's, yeah, sorry. Shiva's screen share, huh? Huh? Yeah. So Bala Vikasa has been conducting a lot of activities towards empowering the widows. I think some of you who were part of our CDD programs, you have witnessed the different activities that we are conducting at Bala Vikasa. So here in India, the main problem is, of course, the widows are facing also economical problems, but much more than economical problem, it's a social stigma, social discrimination. They are abandoned, right? Therefore, there is a big need to create awareness among the community on the widows issues. So we have conducted a lot of activities to support the widows. So as you see here, across the globe, we have 258 million widows suffering from different problems. And this number is all below 60 years old. 60 years old, less than 60-year-old widows. And in India, we have 45 million widows. And coming to the Telugu states, where Bala Vikasa is very active, the states called Telangana and Andhra Pradesh, we have about 3 million. So which is very high number of widows. And the problems are multiple, which are like, psychological, economical, sexual exploitation, social isolation, violation of inheritance rights, violation of basic human rights. So multiple problems by millions of people suffered in India, and also discrimination due to superstitious beliefs and regressive customs. And one of the survey conducted by Bala Vikasa among 5,000 young widows who are, from the rural background, the data indicates 64% of the widows are between the age group of 18 and 40 years, and 80% of the widows in the rural area do not have formal education, and 63% have no support of in-laws or parents. They are, abandoned, and they have no support. And 78% of the widows have debts, and 17% are not able to send the children to school because of financial problem, and 21% of the people are not able to afford proper meal, single meal a day. That shows the level of poverty among the widows. And then many people, because of the superstitions, there are different type of problems. Like, when husband died, they need to take out the flower, the sindoor, all those things, which 80% widows are finding it very difficult. Many people, when they see the face of widow in the morning, they are rejected. They are blaming the widows for the death of their son or the family members. So like this, there are so many problems which are faced by the widows. And one of the important thing is 29% of the young widows have thought of committing suicide or already attempted to commit suicide. So this indicates the level of severity of the problem in India. And this is the reason why Bala Vikasa is taking steps to, create confidence among the widows and create awareness among the community to accept the widows as normal human beings. So the kind of activity what we do is we are providing a lot of counseling activities to the widows themselves, because they are in a mode of committing suicide, very desperate, depressed. So we provide a lot of counseling sessions, to say that nothing wrong with you, you have to be strong and you have to fight. And then we also conduct a lot of legal aid sessions, because many widows do not know about their legal rights, about the property or their human rights, many things. So we conduct a lot of legal aid sessions. And we also provided some skill development programs so that they can have better livelihoods. And we provided career guidance to the children of widows. And we have conducted a mega event on June 23rd, the same day, International Widows Day during 2018, with 10,000 widows. Never in the history of the world where 10,000 widows gathered on a single platform to voice out their concerns. So for this meeting, we have invited all the three religious heads, like from Christianity, from Hindu, from Muslim. And, we made the Hindu religious leaders to tell to the people the superstitions are not from the religion, they are purely a social superstition like that. So this was a Guinness record, but, because of some process problems, we couldn't get that record, but it was a Limca book record. And the next year, we conduct another 10,000 widows meeting in another state. And then at 13 districts, we are organizing meetings with government officials, then community leaders, students, like that. So we mobilized 18,000 people in 13 district level seminars, and we have conducted seminars to the youth in the colleges, in 166 colleges, where more than 60,000 students have participated and learned about the problem of widows and prepared to fight these problems. And we conducted 5 workshops involving 370 NGOs from different parts of 2 states in India. And we have conducted a workshop uniquely for religious leaders, because in India, many people think, these superstitions are from religious practices. So we wanted the religious leaders to come and say, this is not from religion. So we mobilized 300 leaders from Hinduism, Christianity, and Muslim, and made everybody discuss and tell the people. And then we have also organized a workshop to, artists, other people who can write, who can compose good songs, drama, write articles, publications, so that we can create a lot of literature to create awareness. And then, as an outcome, many young widows came forward to remarry, which was not encouraged or which was not dared. So almost 60 widows, with the help of Bala Vikasa, got married, and hundreds of widows are economically empowered. And then in India, when the husband died, they take out the bindi, bangles, and all those things, not to decorate themselves, right? So now they are putting back those things. And many people are participating in the religious rituals, in the prayers and temples, all those things. So this is a kind of change that is happening, but there is a lot to do. There is a lot to do because the problem is big and things are there. So the purpose of this meeting, this event today, is to discuss not only about the Indian problem, but the global problems, because the widow situation is not difficult in India. It is all over the globe. It is in Africa, it is in Asia, and I'm sure even in America they have problems. Not necessarily social discrimination, but maybe economical problem, different problems. That is the reason United Nations brought this day to create platforms for the widows to voice out their issues, and create platforms for the institutional stakeholders to discuss on the issue, create strategies, create policies, create programs, so that we can really help the widows to have a decent life with enjoying the human rights. So we will be discussing on this problem. We have panelists from 3 continents, 4 continents, from Asia, from Africa, and from America. So we'll be discussing about how it is working in different continents, right? And then we will have a question hour, not question hour. We will have maybe 10-15 minutes for any questions by any participants. So if anybody have any questions while the panel discussion is going on, you can put your questions in the chat box. We will try to pick up some common questions or important questions, and we'll put it to the panel members so that we can get reply from them. So now we will listen from, we'll have a short video just to showcase, how the widow is, suffering in India. Shiva, can you play the short video? Shiva.
పన్నెండు సంవత్సరాలకే మ్యారేజ్ అయింది. మ్యారేజ్ అయిన తర్వాతకి ఒక 4 సంవత్సరాల నుంచి ఉన్నాం. ఆయన ఆరోగ్యం మంచిగా లేకుంటుంటే మళ్ళీ హాస్పిటల్ తీసుకొని వస్తే అనగాడ ఏమో చేసి తీసుకొచ్చినాం నా కొడుకుని అని చెప్పేసి గొడవ పెట్టారు. కానీ మరి ఘోరంగా ఇబ్బంది పెట్టిండు. కానీ 6 సంవత్సరాలు టీవీ సంబంధించి వచ్చి చనిపోయింది. మొత్తం అట్లనే చనిపోయింది. మామయ్య కూడా చనిపోయింది. ఎవరు లేదు. నేను ఒక బాబు, నేను మా ఆడబిడ్డలతో కూడా కొంచెం గొడవ అయింది. ఇల్లు జాగ గురించి పంచాయతీ అయింది. ఎవరు ఏది నువ్వు ఎందుకుంటాను, నేను ఇట్టుకుంటాను. మా బాబుని పట్టుకుని అయినా కూడా మా తమ్ముడికి పుట్టలే. నువ్వు వెళ్ళిపోవాలి, అసలు ఇక్కడ ఉండొద్దని చెప్పేసి గొడవ చేసింది. అంటే లేదు, నేను వెళ్ళిపోవాలనేసి ఇక్కడ ఉన్నా, ఇల్లు నేను చేసుకున్నా. నాకు ఎవరు లేరు కదా, అత్తమ్మ లేదు, మామయ్య లేడు, ఉన్న భర్త కూడా లేదు. ఒక్క కొడుకుని పట్టుకొని ఉంటాను కదా. అట్లాంటి పరిస్థితిలో కూడా ఒక్కరికి ఇట్లా వచ్చి చూడలే. కనీసం పాముని చంపడానికి రమ్మని అంటే కూడా నా సహాయం కావాలి, నా అవసరాన్ని బట్టి మాడతారు మనసులోనని కూడా నన్ను ఎక్కాలించినట్టు మాట్లాడిండ్రు. ఆడదాన్ని ఉన్నా అని పిలిచినా కానీ ఇట్లా మాట్లాడతాను రాని, నేను ఎవరిని పిలుస్తాలేనని కూడా ఏడ్చిన. ఏంది ఇది, ఎందుకు ఇట్లా ధైర్యం చెడతాను అని చెప్పే అంత ధైర్యం చెప్పే వాళ్ళు కూడా లేరు. ఇక బయట వాళ్ళతో అయితే ఘోరంగా ఇబ్బంది పడుతుంది ఇప్పటి వరకైనా కూడా. మరి ఒత్తిడి చేసి కూడా నన్ను బలవంతంగా మాటల ద్వారా చంపడం, ఇట్లా అట్లా చనిపోయేదాకా కూడా వచ్చినాను. వచ్చిపోయే ప్రయాణాలలో కూడా జరిగింది.
కానీ నేను పోనీ అనేసి వదిలేకున్నా. వదిలినా కూడా కొంతమంది బాగా అడ్డం వచ్చింది. ఏం చేయలేకపోయినా, భయపడ్డా. బాల వికాసల వందర గ్రూప్ లో అని చెప్పేసి లీడర్ గా వచ్చేసినారు. ఇక అట్లా చనిపోయినాక ఆ సంవత్సరంలో తెలిసింది. ఆ బాల వికాస ద్వారానే నేను ధైర్యం తెచ్చుకున్నా. నేను ఒకప్పుడు చనిపోవాలనుకున్నా. అసలు అక్కడికి పోయి కూడా ఏడ్చిన, స్టేజ్ ఎక్కి మాట్లాడాలన్నా నాకు ధైర్యం లేదు. మాట్లాడలేదు, మౌత్ పట్టుకోవాలన్నా కూడా భయం అయింది. అక్క వాళ్ళకి కూడా ఎవరు ఏంటి అని కూడా నాకు ఎవరు తెలియకపోయింది. అట్లాంటిది వాళ్ళ ఒక తల్లిలాగా తండ్రిలాగా అక్క చెల్లె అని భావించుకొని వాళ్ళు చెప్పడం వల్ల ధైర్యం తెచ్చుకొని ఇంత ధైర్యంగా ఉంది. నా వల్ల కూడా నేను అందరినీ పోషించుకోవడమైనా, నా బాబునైనా నేను వాళ్ళకి చెప్పే అంత ధైర్యమైనా కూడా బాల వికాస ద్వారా వచ్చింది.
Yeah. So this is just a sample of how the widows are facing difficulties, both social, psychological, financial problems. Right? This is just a sample. So we can discuss much further on this. So before we go into the panel discussion, so we will request our founder, Mr. Andre Jaingra, who is from Canada. So we want to welcome him to give his message on this occasion.
Thank you very much, Shauri. It's a great honor for me to be able this morning in Canada, we are in the morning, this morning to speak and to reach to you through this virtual platform. It's a difficult situation we are in with the COVID, but at the same time, it's an occasion for all of us to really get in touch virtually and then to really share and be together for the common purpose that we all have. I had prepared something for this occasion. I have only 5 minutes, but I will have to put my sheets away. Why? Because most of the ground that I wanted to cover has been covered one way or another by Sunita and Shauri in their presentation. Therefore, I have to really reshuffle my thinking, my thought, and my sharing with you. And this is what I would like to do. I would like to start with a kind of personal feeling that I got one day when I was attending a wedding in Warangal of one of our staff. And it was a wonderful opportunity to have around the Hindu priest, the parents, the friends of the groom. And we were all together. But at one point, my wife told me, you see this lady there in the back? This is the mother of the groom. And she cannot be close and part of the setting and the people around because she is a widow. And at that time, it struck me so much to see the difference between all of us, very joyful around the groom, and this woman was far away, and she could not attend because if she would have been close to the setup of the wedding, she would have brought some bad fate, according to the way. For me, it was a kind of revelation of the kind of disparity which exists between the people and the great injustice that really happened in our world. And when we speak about widow, of course, we can stress the importance of the widows in India, because we know that India is the place in the world with the more widows. There are about 50 million widows in India. But this situation is all over the world. And I would say even in Canada, and I remember very well, my grandmother, who was a widow and was always wearing black to show that she was a widow. And she was always a little bit beside the community and the fact. Therefore, the question that we have, the problem that we have in India, which is so magnified by all the organization working to try to help the widows, this situation exists also in countries so-called developed like Canada. Therefore, I would like simply at this point to tell you uh, the kind of thought which is in Bala Vikasa now in terms of development. When we started Bala Vikasa more than 40 years ago, we were there to alleviate the poverty which we could see in India. But throughout the years, I think this concept of development to try to work to alleviate poverty has, has changed. And now we are not talking about alleviate poverty as such, because India, in a way, is a rich country, as we know well. You have 1% of the population of India having the whole of the riches of the country. Therefore, there is a pyramid there where the rich are there, very few of them, and with a base of 1 billion and 350 million people making the base. And then around with this, we know that in India, you have about 325 million people in extreme poverty. And with COVID now, I was reading an article 3 weeks ago or 2 weeks ago saying that because of COVID, now 125 million people are added to the 325 million people who are really suffering extreme poverty. And we know that most of the people at the grassroots are suffering, and they are the women. And among the women, you have the widow. And it came to me to reflect about the situation of the widow. And the slogan that we have this year is basically the invisibility that the widows have. They don't exist for the common of the society. And their problems are non-existent. And therefore, today, it's an occasion for us to be the voice of those women, those widows who cannot speak for themselves, who cannot really speak to try to help, to solve the problems they are facing. But we are there and we are their voice. This brings to me the question of what is really development now. And our organization, Bala Vikasa, for the last year during the COVID, went to a reflection exercise. And we are coming to the conclusion that if we want to do sustainable development and really help the people, it's not necessarily to alleviate poverty. Of course, we have to alleviate poverty, but it's to work against injustice. Therefore, we speak about inequity. Equity becomes the word, becomes the priority that our organization wants to follow in the future. And we know very much that equity is one of the main problems of India. If you look at the question of equity in the world, India is the second country in the world with most inequity.
You have to close them.
And therefore, this is the situation. I wanted only to stress this aspect of inequity or equity that we have to follow when we work for the help of the other, and especially the widow. My wife is in the back telling me that my time is over. Therefore, I wish you a lot of good wishes for the session that you are having. And let's hope that we, all of us, will continue, because alone we cannot do. But if we put all our voices, our strength together, we can do a lot to change the inequity that we see, especially in the widows. Thank you very much. Namaste.
Yeah, thank you, Uncle, for wonderful message. It really inspires and makes us to think different ways of supporting the widows. So now I request Sunita to introduce the panel members. Sunita.
Sorry. Today, there is a need to play a role for NGOs, government, judiciary, activists, media, community leaders, political parties, educational institutions, citizens, religious leaders, etc., to bring this social and economic empowerment for widows. So today, our panelists consist of activists, judiciary, government, and NGOs representing different continents. Because this is a global conference, we have representatives from Asia, Africa, and South America. So firstly, I would like to introduce Ms. Saloni Singh from Nepal. So Ms. Saloni Singh is a development economist, gender advisor, and social inclusion expert, and has been extensively involved in development programs for many international and multinational organizations such as UNDP in Nepal, Sri Lanka, and Bangladesh. So Ms. Saloni in the panel is representing Asia, and she's one of the executive council members of Asian South Pacific Association of Basic and Adult Education. She represents South Asia in the Global Executive Committee and one of the founder executive members of Asia Pacific Women in Politics Network. And she also holds position of gender and focal point for South Asia. So she's right now a founder chair of Didi Bahani, an NGO working on gender equality and social equity issues in Nepal. So we are pleased to have you, ma'am, Saloni ma'am, today in this panel as one of the speakers.
Hi, namaste.
I'm pleased to introduce Ms. Betty Peter from Nigeria. So Ms. Betty is representing Africa in the panel today, and she is a passionate social worker and an undeterred women rights advocate, acclaimed for advancing the rights of women and girls to achieve gender equality and equity. With versatile knowledge and experience in gender-based issues, she has worked with NGOs across different states in Nigeria on various thematic areas of women's rights and empowerment. So Mrs. Betty Peter is the founder and executive director of Renaissance of Hope Initiative, an NGO that envisions a society where everyone is inspired and empowered to lead productive lives. So we are pleased to have you and welcome Mrs. Betty Peter to be one of the panel speakers today. So next we have Mr. Richard Rochefort from Canada, who represents North America, and he is a certified coach, excellent facilitator, and outstanding public speaker. Richard worked for Public Service of Canada. During the course of his career, he worked for several departments and agencies, including the Department of Secretary of State, Elections Canada, the Royal Commission on Electoral Reform and Party Financing, Statistics Canada, Treasury Board Secretariat, and the Public Service Commission and National Defense. So among his current contributions to the Public Service of Canada, he is actively serving various departments as a senior resource. So we are pleased to have you, Mr. Richard, in this panel as one of the panelist speakers. So next we have Mr. G. Uday Kumar, who is a senior civil judge working as a judicial officer for the last 13 years and is presently working as a secretary for District Legal Services Authority for the last 30 months. So some of the functions Mr. Uday Kumar through his district legal service authority includes providing free and competent legal services to eligible persons, creating legal awareness about the rights of the weaker and marginalized sections of the society, and to implement schemes and policy directions of NALSA through strategic and preventive legal services program. So we are pleased to invite Mr. Uday Kumar to be one of the panelists today amidst us. Then we have Ms. K. Satyavati Garu from India. She is a catalyst of change and work for women and their rights through Bhumika Women's Collective. So she was associated with many movements like anti-Iraq and women's movement. She has been nominated on various committees at national and international level in different positions and has been the advisory member to support effective functioning of one-stop crisis center run by Department of Women Development and Child Welfare. So she, along with the other like-minded activists, had launched Women's Helpline with a toll-free with 24/7 services to support the women in distress. So she also has sensitized and imparted trainings to various departments like police, judiciary, teachers, public representatives, corporates, etc. So we are pleased to have Ma'am Ms. Satyavati to be part of the panel today. So thank you all, and once again, welcome to all the panelists today to address on the theme Invisible Women and Invisible Problems. Over to you, Shauri.
Thank you, Sunita, for welcoming and introducing all the panel members. Good. So just before we go into the session, I just want to inform today has been a busy day at Bala Vikasa. This morning we have conducted another very big online event with all the community members. Thousands of participants from all over the states have participated, and this is the second event, which is an international event. And during this next 30 minutes of the panel discussion, what we'll try to do is, first we'll try to discuss on the different type of problems in different countries or in different continents. And then the second one will be, what are we doing as a government, as an NGO, right, as an activist? What are we trying to do to help the widows to come out of the situation? And third thing will be, what else can we do? Right? What are the problems? What are we doing? And what else can we do to support the widow situation? Right? So we'll discuss on these three aspects. So we'll try to spend 30 minutes on this discussion, and then after that we can have 10 minutes for question and answers. So anybody have any questions, you can hold them, and then towards the end of the 30 minutes, you can type in the chat box so that we can pick up those questions and then put to the members. Okay. Okay. So the first question to all the panel members, since we are today organizing the International Widows Day, do you think really many people in your country know about this day, and are they really organizing this day? Right? Like every country is conducting International Women's Day, which was declared by United Nations, and similarly, International Women's Day also is declared by United Nations. It's not by Bala Vikasa, it's by United Nations, right? To conduct this event in every country. So just want to know, is this event organized like the International Women's Day in every country? I just want to hear from you, maybe starting from Nepal. Ms. Saloni?
Okay. Thank you. First of all, let me take this opportunity to thank Bala Vikasa, the whole entire family of Bala Vikasa, the founders and directors, especially Gauri and Sunita. Sunita has been really trying to contact me in this time. Thank you very much to be part of it. And to your answer, as long as I know, this day is not at all a national day, let alone to be an international day of women, especially widows. So there are some groups who are really working on these issues, are organizing something which is again invisible. So one thing what really struck me and attracted me to be part of your campaign, part of our campaign, is invisibility. The invisibility, exclusion, at the same time inequity, injustice that comes in as part of our entire.
Salonji, I'll come back to you to explain
Okay.
about the problems in the next level.
Yeah,
Now, let's discuss about
not at all.
are the countries really organizing International Widows Day?
No.
Right? No, not in Nepal. How about Canada? Richard?
No.
No, not organizing. Betty, how about your place? Yeah.
Good morning, everybody. This is afternoon from Nigeria. Thank you for having me here. Yes, so when Nigeria, most shows like this day, most NGOs, most CSOs, that is organized by the government, all right, but NGOs and other organizations mark the day.
Okay. Yeah. So.
Hello, did you hear me?
Yes, a little bit. Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. So from India, maybe I can ask Satyavati ji.
Yeah. Good evening to all. Very good evening. So in India also there is no awareness. Only Bala Vikasa is doing. 2-3 years back also I went to their meeting. Then I came to know that there is a International Widows Day. No, nobody is celebrating. I don't call it a celebration. There is no such a special day to raise their issues or some awareness. Nobody knows. Yes. Even myself.
Yeah. Yes, very unfortunate, you know. This was declared by United Nations 10 years ago, right? But still the governments, the media, and including the NGOs like us, right, are not aware about this day, this special day, which is dedicated to think about the widows, right? Do something for the widows, right? So it's very unfortunate, like, you know, how the problem of widows is neglected, right? This day also is neglected globally. So now let's go to the second question. What are the problems that you think the widows in your country are facing? Be it psychological, social, financial, whatever, you know, because something we may not know, right? Because India, we know about something, but in Canada, it may be something different than what we can even imagine, right? Because the Indian problems sometimes are not even imaginable for somebody in Canada, right? So we want to hear from you, from different countries, what are the different type of problems, right, in different countries the widows are facing. We can start with Betty from Africa.
Okay. Yeah, so generally in Africa, but with more emphasis on Nigeria, widows face a lot of discrimination rising from the deaths of their husbands. These problems range from the psychological to physical to economical to social and what have you. Most times in the event of a husband's death, the woman is seen as being responsible for the death, even despite the obvious reasons for the man's death, even when you know the man had suffered protracted illness or over time, responsible for his death. So most times coming with this kind of perception, the woman is then made to go through some dehumanizing experiences, just sometimes to prove her innocence or to exonerate her, or just
voice is breaking.
They are just rights that are being practiced. Like sometimes a man dies and hello, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Betty,
can
we
you
can
hear
hear
me?
you, but there is
Okay.
some echo problem. I think your voice is breaking.
Okay, is it good now? Or maybe let me speak directly now. Is it better?
Yeah.
Is it better now? Okay.
Yeah.
So I said most times at the event of a man's death, the woman is made to go through a lot of
Sorry, Betty, we are not able to hear you properly. Maybe can you just
crisis because
No, sorry. Betty, can you stop, please?
For it, even when the causes, it's. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me?
Yeah, no.
Yeah, it's okay now, but we could not hear anything before.
Yeah,
I
please,
think
yeah, please settle your mic and internet, please. So in the meantime, we'll go to Nepal, right? Ms. Saloni, can you please share your experience or your understanding about the problems of widows in Nepal?
Okay. It's not very different from what you presented, Sauri. So we all share the very common thing in our region. However, within the huge big homogeneity of women are taken as a homogeneous entity, whereas there's so many different identities, especially widows who is very, very different and who is so badly invisible, discounted, humiliated and ignored. And even the painful thing is, even people who are educated, even the families who are so-called higher caste, higher level, higher status, the whole values, behavior, discrimination has been way of life. So it is not, it is, inbuilt, it is internalized so much that people forget about this unless you face it. Like, I want to share a moment. Even a person like me who has been all over internationally, and I was the bread earner, I'm doing everything at home, I'm even looking after my husband, and I was doing everything to for my husband. He had a brain stroke. Then he was in a coma. I had to decide everything. I decided whether to keep him in pain or to give him peace. And once I decided, while I was paying the bills, then everything suddenly finished. Then I was nowhere. Even my presence, my identity, my emotions were being forgotten so easily by the community, by the family, by the relatives, by the culture, by the religion. And this painful transition is really, really, really beyond explanation, beyond description, which I say is, unless you feel it, it is very difficult to express. It is very difficult to even imagine it. So even at this level it is there, let alone the families who are in a very difficult surviving level, economically, socially, religiously, and all different levels. And this is the thing. So invisibility, you realize at that point. This is what I said. It is painful. It is actually brutal. It is brutal, but nobody can imagine, nobody can even sense it, because they always have a logic that we have to follow the culture. If we do not follow it, then everybody, it has been it's stigmatized so much. The whole family goes into trauma, and then the victimization of one woman in the whole homogeneous society of women is ignored very, very much, and you become nothing, from everything to nothing. And in our culture, from suhag to vaidabhya. Suhag, everything you are given, you are in the highest level, you are taken as the highest level of power, Durga, Lakshmi, or whatever you call. And the moment your husband just stop breathing, then you're nothing. Just the identity that is attached to a man, this brutal patriarchy is everywhere. It may be in different forms, But when you are aware as a person who's been working in this issue all my life in development, may it be in socio-economic, may it be in political, or may it be in all different psychological area, when you feel it, it is, and you have to follow it. You have to, I mean, obey the social norm. It is very, very painful. So this is the
Thank you.
situation.
Thank
This
you,
is what I'm
Sarvati,
telling
for
you
sharing
from my
your
own experience.
yeah. Thank you for sharing your own live example, which is very sad. We can imagine a person like you is experiencing that kind of situation.
Yeah, it is not. It is not very. I mean, it's very recent. That is why it's still live in my heart, and it comes out.
We can feel it. We can feel it. We can feel your own feelings. And we can relate it very well to the communities in where we are working with. And it's much more worse than I mean, what you are facing is very sad. But it's the same situation there. Okay, so we'll go to India, and then I'll ask Uday Kumar sir, can you please share from your experience on the problems that you think the widows are facing, be it religious, cultural, whatever it is.
Sir, good evening to everyone. So far as our district legal service party legal office having its existence in the district judiciary, we are seeing the problems that the women who are widows who are coming to our office with alleging that they are being deprived of their share, they are being deprived of their rights, denied their share in the property after the death of their husband, and sometimes the aged widows that they are not being maintained or seen by their children. These are the problems that they are coming to our office with applications seeking reliefs and remedies. And these are the very common problems that really, from the irrespective of the age, the widows are facing a lot of problems, more particularly in economic side, and being deprived their rights, because of lack of awareness about their rights, and without knowing where to approach and how to get their remedies, they are coming with a lot of problems to our office. Majorly, these are the problems that we are regularly experiencing in our office. These are the major problems, sir.
Thank you. Satyavati garu, can you share a few examples?
Yeah. Uday Kumar sir told about the legal aspects and about their rights. But I want to share that Saloni, what she shared, is the same. The women who lost her husband are brutally, cruelly attacked with so many customs. Their livelihoods will be gone, their status will be gone, everything will be gone. So that is the impact of, in my opinion, this is the impact of the patriarchy. Yeah, we have to address these issues. These are ideological issues. We have to question all these practices. Taking away their bindi, taking away their flowers, taking away the bangles. They are ornamental, nothing, but they attached it as a custom. So we have to question about all these issues. We have to address through media or through writings, through writers. And then only the change must be happen. So we have to work very hard. Yeah, in the first question you asked, is there any awareness? Sadly, no awareness. No awareness about this special day declared by UN. See, because of they don't want to discuss about this issue. That's why they simply ignore the day. So we have to work very hard and through awareness, and only we can address this issue. Good. Different ways.
Thank you, Andy. Yeah, Richard, now we are coming to Canada. So can you please share us, what type of problems the widows are facing in America side?
Well, just a few things. First of all, Canada is very multicultural. So a lot goes back to the individual cultures of the different families. But my mother has been a widow for 17 years, and my mother-in-law was a widow for 44 years. And the one thing that all widows all over the world have in common is that they suffer in silence. They suffer in silence. And you raise the question of why is there not more awareness? Because they suffer in silence. So they're not the ones who are going to go out and proclaim that they're suffering in silence. The rest of us have to realize this issue. We have to come to bear it. Now in Canada, we, thank God, are not attacked by customs. Okay, so the widows are not. But let me just say this, make it very clear that after the funeral of the husband, they are forgotten. They are forgotten. And we've seen it again in this pandemic. In Canada, we have 2 million widows. Most of them, in our case, are over age 60, but they're forgotten. And they're not forgotten. They're forgotten in we put them in seniors' care homes. In Canada, the widows, they don't live necessarily with the children because there's only 1 or 2 children. And sometimes we live in a large country, the families are separated by hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of kilometers. And the mother is placed in a home somewhere. And I visit my mother every 2 days, but I'm the only one. There are countless widows in the elder care home that have not seen a visitor in the last 18 months. They are suffering in silence, and they too are invisible. So it's not the same, it's a different situation. But certainly the invisibility is common, and we need to do something about it.
Yeah, thank you. So it shows, even in Canada, there is a problem, not necessarily discrimination by beliefs or traditions, but it happens.
By indifference.
Yeah, indifference. Yeah.
And that hurts as well.
Yeah, good. Thank you. So this shows, the problems are, of course, we couldn't really hear much from Africa side very clearly, but I'm sure, even in African side also there are a huge number of problems. Like you were saying, there is a lot of discrimination, a lot of harassment, sexual harassment, all problems are there. So my next question is it same in urban area and rural area, educated family, not educated family? I want to ask only Nepal and India. Do you think it's the same problem? Whether
If you ask me,
yeah, Nepal, maybe we can go to Nepal.
If you ask me, I say it looks different. It looks different in color, in the way that women behave, the way that women move around. But at the bottom level, when you come to the culture, the same. When the priest comes, same rule. When the state rules are the same. Social norms are the same. The perception, the attitude, the behavior of each family is the same, but forms are different. Yes, I deliberately wear red thing today because I can decide for myself, but not everyone. Not everyone, even in a high class, high level family who claim to be very highly educated, have enough resources to spend. But the subordination, the second classness, the domination, the attitude, and in the name of culture, in the name of the status of the family, in the name of the what we call the ijat of the family, it's always attached to a woman, and women has to keep the status of the household, the family, and men are free. This discrimination, the moment a woman loses her husband, there's so many different blames, and they're denied to do so many things. First, no color, no vibrant colors, no red color that would really make this woman feel happy or look better. No cosmetics, no tika, nothing. And she should always present herself like a sad woman who is always mourning for the husband. Maybe this husband is so abusive, or maybe I mean, this woman was not happy with this man, but she should dedicate her life all through until the death to the womb, to the tomb. You see, this imposition itself is a very brutal, culture. And we say that we are living in a impunitive culture. There is no punity on these things, and you take it, accept it so much by everyone. So this woman also, since this woman is also born and brought up in this culture, takes it as her, what do you call, biological or natural thing, but which is not. So when we talk about equity, when we talk about justice, especially human right, the right to choose the color, right to choose her mobility, right to choose her, get up, right to choose her livelihood options, right to choose to live, even sexuality. The most painful thing is there are in Nepal, most women, there are 60, almost a huge number of young women from 20 to 35 are widows, and they are also expected to live their life in the name of that dead husband. That means they are not allowed to marry. When you talk about marry, it's control over her sexuality. So that is very, very brutal. And when a man loses his wife, then from the day one, people start to talk about finding a new bride for him because he won't be able to live. One is that. The other thing is, for the sake of children, it is always women who have to sacrifice her life, and men are not given this responsibility at all. And third is the household organization. It is said that if a man is considered to be so irresponsible, incapable of raising the children, also managing the household, that's why a woman is needed to support him. These thinking, it's also undermining men's capability, which needs to be unfolded, discussed, and shared among men and women. It's not that men want it to be like that, because it is the given role, given the attitude and the perception of the society, which need to be unlearned, unfolded, and discussed on.
Thank you, Saranaji. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. No, my next question was actually about the marriage, widows remarriage, right? In India, of course, when you talk in English, you have a word widow and widower, right? But in India, we don't have any title for the men, right? You call widow only for the only for the women, right? So that discrimination is there. And as you rightly said, 3 days after the death of the wife, the men or the family will look for new wife, saying that he needs a company, right? He needs support, right? When a man cannot, when a man cannot live without women, and he claims as a strong man, right? And the strong man needs a support. Why not a woman need a support, right? So I want to ask India and Canada, what do you think about the remarriages? I'll first start with Satyavati ji, right? And then I will go to Richard after, right? Satyavati garu, can you tell about what's your opinion about widows getting remarried? Why are they not getting married, and what we should do for them?
Yeah, and there is too much taboo is there because of these customs. So there is no harm in remarrying. So many friends are now marrying. There are separate marriage bureaus also there. There is no. We must encourage also. We must encourage remarriages also, but not happening too much. In village level, it's very, very difficult to get remarriage.
Yeah.
Widow marriage. In urban, it's happening. Maybe in urban also, in some communities, it's happening. Yeah.
So it's picking up.
But
it's not
if
something.
you ask me,
it's picking up. Yeah.
State policies deny it. It's not only that we say that culturally in the property law, inheritance law. If a man gets married, he has his inheritance all the time with him, even before his birth, right?
Yeah.
But a woman is attached to a man who she gets married to, and this man, if she lives in his name all through her life without marrying other, then she gets the property. Otherwise, she has to give away. But there is a small, I mean, we have a legal reformation here, but again, that is the social, cultural, and religious belief and behavior and attitude, and that's how the society is going on. That's why always this customary law overrides the law, and we live in customary law, so which really need to be reflected, discussed, and transformed.
Yeah. Good. So yeah, it is not easy to get married in India because of many reasons.
Yes,
but
yes,
as
very
everybody
difficult.
else said, it is changing. In urban areas, it's getting little more and
Is my
more.
voice breaking?
Yeah.
Sorry.
So
It's
Richard,
heavily raining here.
Richard, can you share the Canadian perspective?
Yes, on remarriages, let me just say this. First of all, as I said earlier, our widows tend to be older, average age 56. We have 2 million widows, okay, but they're older. And many choose not to remarry. So they have a choice, but they choose not to remarry. Whereas the men, they don't seem to be able to last maybe two, 3 years without remarrying. They need to absolutely do it and do it as quickly as they can. Whereas the women,
How about the young widows, Richard? Like, if somebody is in 20, 30 years.
Yes, well, what I can say about that, the younger widows, they're very selective. They don't just immediately seek to remarry. It takes a much longer time. So they will take maybe 5, 10, 15 years before they will remarry. Whereas a man will want to do that within 24 months, at the most 3 years, okay? They will want to remarry. It's a question of status, I suppose. It's a question also of even they don't know how to cook, they don't know how to do anything, and they have children, and so they whereas even young widows, especially if they have children, that'll be the priority. The priority will be there. It will be immediate family, and then they'll look after themselves. So they put all the needs of everyone else first, and then they will do it. But at least they have a choice. They have a choice.
Yeah. So it's not like in India or in Asia. No.
It's a different.
That's good to hear from Canada side. Okay. And then yeah, we have last 1 or 2 questions. What are the programs that either government or NGOs are doing for the widows? Is something from Nepal side? Anybody doing anything for the widows? Like like what Bala Vikasa is doing in different ways for widows?
Yeah.
Is there something
Yeah,
that
we have a huge network of single women, and this has been an issue actually not from very long time, but since we went through a decade-long conflict within our own country, there have been lots of war widows. There have been so many other widows, and the widow issue came very much, and all of us, including me, some of my friends, they're very good activist groups among the widows and those who support for this. So this has been a very, vibrant movement now, from widow movement to color movement to human rights. We call this, there is an organization called Women for Human Right. So we are claiming for our human right. If UN claims to have this human right commission, if they ensure that everyone has the human right, this is also our human right, that we are no more an animal now, that we will be governed by the brutal rules of the priest, brutal rules of the society, brutal rules and policies of the country, or any specific groups. That is why this has been a huge movement now, even though it has not been up to the level we need to go. But there has lots policies and practices have been changing. Like red color movement came for about a decade. We said no women, even in the rural areas now started to wear red colors. There are two reasons. One is when a young woman is wearing very white color, no color, nothing, and always identify herself as a widow, she's at risk. So she's at risk. That's why even families are allowing them to wear whatever they want, so that she is secured. So security, safety is there. And there's so many other issues which is attached to that. And mobility issues, I mean, right issues and everything has been changing over time within a decade or a little bit more than that.
Thank you, Saranaji.
Yeah.
Satyavati garu, can you share?
Yeah. I want to share that so many widows are there in Vrindavan and Madura. Maybe you are aware of that. So many mostly Bengali widows are going to that place, Vrindavan, Madura. Recently, I saw a program. They organized in a big event calling all the widows to Durga Puja. Durga Puja in Kolkata, and they organized in such a colorful way. Every widow, what she told Salome, that they all of them wear colorful dresses, and they danced that day. Maybe some of the organizations are also working as Bala Vikasa in West Bengal or Madura, Vrindavan. So we have to find out. So in Telugu states, only Bala Vikasa is doing.
Yeah.
So there is no awareness about that.
Yeah. And from government side, in Telugu states or some parts of India, they are giving some special pensions for the
widow pension.
Widow pensions is introduced in India.
Yes.
And one of the reason is, Bala Vikasa, since we have been working with the widows and we are trying to give some kind of support to widows, that was picked up by government and then they made it a big one. So in both Telugu states, about 3 million widows are getting $30 pension per month. So this is one scheme implemented by government of the Telugu states, and also central government also giving small pensions. So now what we are trying to do as Bala Vikasa is, we are trying to do advocacy with the government to encourage the widow remarriages. Right? How? By giving incentives, financial incentives. In India, there is a package. If somebody is marrying intercaste, somebody is marrying from one caste to other caste, there is an incentive, because India government want to abolish the caste system, the caste differences. So they have an incentive. If somebody is marrying from another caste, they get incentive of 100,000 rupees or 200,000 rupees in different states. So similarly, like how the government is encouraging intercaste marriages, we are demanding the governments to allocate certain grant or certain incentive for widow remarriages. A poor widow want to marry, if the government can give 3 lakh rupees or 4 lakh rupee as a grant, it will help them to stabilize their family and also encourage the men to marry the widow, right? So we are trying to work with the governments. Unfortunately, both Telangana and Andhra governments are little positive on this. So hopefully it will come forward. And we are also trying to lobby with the government to establish widow corporation, where government will allocate certain amount of fund, maybe 1,000 million rupees or something like that. So they will allocate a fund which will be used to help for the economic development of the widows, maybe for their income generation activity, for micro enterprise, or to help their children get educated, right? So if the widows can have access to extra economical opportunities, definitely their economic empowerment will happen in a better way, right? So it's going to help them. Once they have a little more money, little more income, definitely are more confident, more strong, and more powerful to fight the issues. And the third one, what Bala Vikasa is lobbying with the government and even the judiciary. Vijay Kumar Garu, you are there. In India, there is a SC/ST atrocity act. In India, we have a lot of caste discrimination. If anybody is discriminating somebody in the name of the lower caste, they are put into jail.
Yes.
Right? They have a huge punishment from government if somebody is harassing somebody or discriminating somebody in the name of caste. So similarly, we want to fight. I mean, we want to lobby with the government or work with the judiciary to bring a new act, right? If anybody is discriminating a widow purposefully, they must be jailed.
Definitely, it's a good idea, sir. It's a good idea, and stringent punishment should be given to them who humiliated the widows on one ground or the other ground. And certainly, there is a need to bring some amendments in the laws pertaining to address the problems of these widows regarding the humiliation and ill treatment and abusing, violation, violence subjecting to the widows. It is true. It is required, sir. Very good idea, and we have to bring some movement for this to introduce these amendments or changes into the legislation. It is required. Good idea.
Yeah. So definitely, we'll take your support in drafting those petitions to the government, to the judiciary, right? Demanding this kind of things. I know it will take a long time, but we need to have a right strategy to approach the government or parliament or whatever required. So definitely, this morning also we had a professor from Usmania University, Reddy Garu, and I know now we have you. So definitely we will take support of all people like you in drafting this kind of petitions with the government.
I want to share something about, remarrying and some incentive for the marrying a widow, right? About 5-6 years ago, Nepal also had a policy on that, 50,000 rupee if you marry to a widow. But we had a movement to say no, because we already face that there are lots of potential of abusing it. The marrying not just for the cause of social transformation, for money, and there were so many other negative potential effects. That's why we moved on and we changed. Instead of that, we had so many other facilities and other information that we got it. So you think a little bit more about that before you go into advocating.
I mean, yeah, you are right.
What is the real live case of Nepal?
Yeah, I mean, we also need to prepare. We also need to have a criteria, right? It's not for anybody, everybody. We should have a criteria.
Nepal also thought that 10 years back, we had that legislation which came, but we denied it. We didn't.
So this is how, we are trying to work in India.
Just be careful about this.
Yeah. And we are trying to mobilize a lot of support from government, media, NGOs, activists. So Bala Vikasa is really trying to make it a social movement. It's not a widow empowerment project in Bala Vikasa, right? It's a social movement, and Bala Vikasa don't want to own anything. Bala Vikasa is very clear. This is a very secular movement. This is a social movement where everybody will be contributing, where everybody will be participating. But one cannot change the entire country. We need a lot of support from everybody. So we'll be working towards that. So if any questions, Sunita, have you noticed any questions from the chat? Or if anybody want to put questions, we can have 5 minutes. Anybody want to question anything, you can type immediately so we can see from the chat and put it to the panel.
Yeah, I think there is one question by Upali from Sri Lanka. So what he asks is, how can we change the social perception to strengthen the lives of widows?
Social perception. How do we change it? Right? I mean, if I have to answer that, this is what Bala Vikasa is trying, right? It is through creating awareness. Awareness among the society, awareness among the government, awareness among everybody, right? Where people are aware, they will think differently, right? Until people have proper awareness on why this situation, is it superstition, is it religious, is it traditional, is it good, until you create that required awareness, change will not happen. That's why Bala Vikasa is not going to anybody and simply say, you change. No. We are telling the people in even the villages, right? So to break a coconut by a widow is abolished in India. On inauguration of a water plant, inauguration of a community hall, widows are not permitted to break the coconut. But you know, in every inauguration of Bala Vikasa water plants in the village, we take 15 minutes to motivate the community on this issue. What is wrong in making the widow break a coconut? Indira Gandhi, being the Prime Minister of India for 18 years, she was breaking coconut at multi-billion-dollar worth projects. She blessed so many weddings. Sonia Gandhi blessed so many weddings, right? Why not a widow in the village, right? So when you give proper motivation, people accept, right? So that's why the purpose of social movement of Bala Vikasa is to create mass awareness in right approach. It's not in a fighting way. It is in a encouraging way, motivating way, making people think the realities. Because now more are educated, they can think differently. Provided you provide a platform to think realistically. Okay, Richard, you have something to say?
I was just going to say exactly what you just said. From my perspective, worldwide, we need to make this more visible, more visible, more visible. And I think social media is not always good, but it's very good for this. Let's make it more visible and have the widows tell their stories. Tell their stories. And storytelling is probably the most powerful form of communication. So when you showed that video earlier of that young widow, 16, 17 years old, sharing her story, that really changes the hearts and minds of people all over the world. So we need to get those stories out. Get the stories out.
Exactly. So we need to showcase the problem to make the people realize about the problem. And you need to showcase the success story of somebody, a widow who is changing herself, who is fighting, how she is fighting, how she is getting married, how she is managing the life after the marriage, or how she is fighting the discrimination. So other widows also can get inspiration, right? And in India, the widow situation is mainly because of superstition. Many people try to attach it to religion, and if Bhavika speak about that, nobody will agree, right? So we call strategically the religious leaders, the Hindu religious leaders, and made them speak to public. For God's sake, this discrimination is not encouraged by the religion, right? And our own Brahmana Society president in Telangana, he invited 300 widows to celebrate a feast called Batkama, where widows don't participate generally, right? When the religious leader themselves invited the widows to participate in this big event in a big temple, then it opened the eyes of everybody. Oh, when a priest was inviting, what is it for us? Right? So you should have a right approach to educate the society. And until you educate the society, please don't change anything. Don't talk about change.
I would like to compliment here what Saurav says. Like when it comes to the big icon by the political parties, everything is possible. Everything is taken as the big change. Like in South Asia, we had lots of widows who have been in the power position. Even Nepal is now experiencing the highest position of the state is a widow. But again, when it comes to down, then it does not work. Exactly, I like your idea about how you are comparing, how you are giving the evidence. So this is how we need to change the attitude. Even challenge, it is not only changing attitude, challenging the religious taboos, religious beliefs, the superstition-based beliefs without evidence. Yeah, this is a very good idea.
Mm-hmm. There's some excellent comments coming through the chat. The examples, people who've done this, etc. So it's very, very rich what's coming in through the chat right now.
Yeah, I can see the same. Like I see so many positive comments coming up in the chat. We cannot address all of them, but maybe in the leftover time, we can take one more question from one NGO from India. This question is to Mr. Uday Kumar. to provide some legal framework information for addressing the widows issue.
We have to conduct a lot of awareness programs, and the very function of the legal services is conducting legal awareness programs in rural areas and also in slum areas, educating the poor people and uneducated people regarding their rights and the remedies available to them provided under the constitution and various legislations. And for that purpose, a lot of camps have to be conducted to bring a change in the mindset of the family members of a widow, so that they can proceed properly, and they fight against all the problems, seeking the remedy provided under law. These are the what I think is more awareness camps have to be conducted to reach the people.
Adding to your comment, I think there is a quick comment from one of the participants. They say a law can be enacted and a fund from Ministry of Women Empowerment or Social Justice also can be established.
Yes.
That's what we are asking for, corporation for widows in India. You know? Yeah. So somebody was saying from Nigeria that once the husband is dead, the family will try to hide the property so that the widow will not grab it. You know? Yeah.
We are sorry that Miss Betty, she texts saying that she has very bad network and she has to get disconnected. So sorry about that.
Yeah. Yeah. But on the whole, we can summarize to say that the widow problem is not just in one country or one continent. It is across the globe, and there is definitely a great need by the NGOs, by the activists like us. Don't forget about the government. Government will do what can be done by the government. But we as change makers, we as social activists, we as community development organizations, it is our role. Oftentimes governments will try to initiate something what is initiated by the NGOs, right? So we should not wait for the government. So let us try to work something. But it is very important to try to initiate something very innovatively. I think 80% of the NGOs in India or all over the globe, they are working on women empowerment, which is very, very important and interesting. So now why don't we initiate projects, propose to donors, propose to governments to fund the empowerment of widows? Maybe their economic empowerment, maybe their social empowerment, leadership empowerment. There are so many aspects where we can design projects, right? The more innovative you are in designing projects, the more opportunities for us to get the funding. Like how NGOs survived, I would say survived, by getting funding for women empowerment programs, right? Now women empowerment funding is getting little less and less. Why don't we initiate something new for widow empowerment, which is more emotional, more sentimental, where more donors will be sensitive to this kind of issue, and you may get more funding, right? So as an NGO, we have more flexibility than governments to decide and initiate innovative schemes. That's the beauty of NGOs. What government cannot do, NGOs can do, right? We have more flexibility. We have ground realities. We are more with the community. So let us try to design campaigns, economic development opportunities, education opportunities, capacity building, counseling. There are so many things that can be done to widows, right? So let us try to take whatever possible for us in terms of resource available, right? What I always feel, they are not there, but if you have a good idea, a good project, a good solution, funds will be there, right?
Can I just support you on that? And I just want to say, coming out of this pandemic, a big priority in the empowering of women is, help them stop suffering in silence. Okay, leadership for widows by widows, leadership for widows by widows, and you've done that by bringing 10,000 widows together. I've never seen anything like that anywhere in the world. Keep on doing those things. When they talk to each other, they draw strength from each other, and they will end up leading this type of global conference next year and the year after, and telling us what they need, as opposed to us deciding for them what they need. It would be great next year if we did a similar thing, to have widows on the panel telling us what we can do for them.
Yeah.
Me also, what I think is many NGOs and different kinds of groups join together, make a joint voice in every way, so that everybody can listen. The widows and non-widows, the government, and everybody can listen and see what is happening and what to happen, what should happen. So it's a joint voice, a strong voice have to come. Otherwise, each one talking in their own way is nobody listening. You have to be united to accomplish something.
Absolutely.
I agree with you. I agree. It has to be a joint, collective, and big voice. Yeah, we've been doing very good work in our parts. We might have excellent examples, but it is not, I mean, it is not visible enough or loud enough or strong enough for everyone to take it or take it. That's why I agree with both of you that we need to have a collective program. We should design something that we work in our context, but it has a wider, bigger impact at community, at individual to the global level, at all different levels. Yeah, I agree with you.
Speaking at another event that's already starting now.
Yeah, thank you for those messages, wonderful messages. Auntie, do you have anything to add?
Okay. Thank you.
You wanted to say something? Satyavati, you want to say something?
No.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I would like to thank you all very much. I'm really empowered. I feel that I'm empowered. And as a recent widow, I also did have a platform to talk about it. Thank you very much. Thank you, Sunita.
Yeah, thank you all. Yeah,
Maybe I want to say it's a wonderful exchange of the issue, of the topic, and very many points came in from the chat, from the panelists, from all kinds of organizations, charity, and everybody. It's a wonderful thing, knowledge giving, sharing, and for all the participants from Bala Vikasa, we thank you very much, and let us get together more often and do something. And congratulations to organize this thing, and all of the participants I congratulate and thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye to all. Namaste.
Yeah, so on behalf of Bala Vikasa also, we thank each and every panelist today for giving your valuable messages and also addressing the issue and also the information from the perspective of your country. So thank you so much for your valuable time and messages. And I also would like to thank all the NGOs, I think participated from 23 countries today. So they have been watching all this panel speakers, and then I'm sure they would have got a lot of insights and ideas in order to go forward addressing this particular issue. So thank you one and all. And now I would invite Manjula to please close this session with a pledge.
I would just say one more thing is that maybe next time after this COVID is finished, internationally, we should organize a day like this, and where we will have a lot more visibility and a lot more power to that meeting. Thank you very much.
Manjula, you're on mute.
Is Manjula there?
Yeah, Manj.
Good morning and good evening to all of you. I am Manjula. I am the program manager for Widow Empowerment Program. So if we are together physically, definitely I would have asked you to repeat the pledge after me. But still, I believe that we are one in spirit So I read out the pledge on behalf of all of us, and definitely I know that we definitely will try to follow this, and we follow this. So now I read out the pledge. On the occasion of this International Widows Day, we pledge to provide the required confidence, capacity, and opportunities to widows in our country to cope up with the discriminatory situations and lead a dignified life. We will put our best efforts to create awareness among general public and all relevant stakeholders to eradicate the discrimination of widows and bring dignity and justice to the widows. I personally will respect the widows in my family and community and stand as an example of best change maker. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
Thank you, Auntie, for being with us. I think Auntie also participated this morning session, which means evening, I mean late night time in the Canadian time, but she was part of both the sessions. So thank you so much for your time, and your presence makes a lot of difference to all of us.
Uncle is
Thank
very
you so
happy
much.
joining. Yeah.
Thank you, Uncle, also. Yeah, Uncle is not, though he's not throughout the session. We thank Uncle also for his message, for his wonderful message. So thank you, Shauri, for moderating this session so wonderfully. And once again, thank you all the panelists and all the viewers today for making this event a grand successful one. Thank you, and see you all soon physically.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you.
Very nice to see Bala Madam.
Thank you very much, Amma. Yeah, nice to see you too.
Nice to see you.
See all of you.
Greetings from Nepal.
Yeah, I know.
Yes. Thank you very much. Yes. Bye-bye.
Have a good day.
Yes.
Or good night or good evening, whatever. Different countries, different timing. Yeah. Bye.
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 Bye all.